card that a lot of people had forgotten about until someone reminded them that, hey, these tokens that come into play are actually real.
Meanwhile, Caleb's playing, a man after my own heart. Grixis with Lone Revenant as his primary kill, but also multiple Karn Liberateds. He's sort of got a little bit of the, let's see, he's got lots of sweepers with Whip Flares, Slag Storms. Now he's got a little bit actually of a miracle touch though. He has Temporal Mastery as his only miracle. It's kind of interesting to see Temporal Mastery here without any bonfires, with just 4 ponders to set it up. Now he does have 3 lighthouses for extra shots at the miracles. He's mostly a blue-red deck, and he's just splashing black for 3 Doomblades and a Go for the Throat in order to give him, a little bit of extra spot removal. And he is playing Think Twice Over Ravings because of his desire to hit those Temporal Masteries.
Turn 1, we have land, both people. Turn 2, no play from anyone yet.
Now, Eric's gonna, let's see. Eric's gonna have to, he's just gonna basically play, a thread at a time, thread at a time, thread at a time.
Yeah. If he doesn't have any to begin with.
It's interesting. I wonder what he kept to have no plays on turn 1, 2, or 3.
Are we going to see a Hunt Master here? Or he's waiting to not have Mana Leak on turn 4. Well, 4 mana. He is protected from a Mana Leak there. I wonder if this Grixis deck has any other answers to a creature.
It looks like Eric might have a grip full of Restoration Angels and no white mana.
Now, Caleb not casting the Lone Revenant in his hand yet, but it could be coming down any time.
I assume he's just going to wait till he hits his 5th land if he plays it at all. The Blade Splicer coming down, though. Once again, Eric playing around Mana Leak.
Whip Flare in Caleb's hand.
Whip Flare, not the most effective, but at least it can, it'll take down the 1/1 and the
look at this. Player cards. I love those things.
Absolutely. It's not actually clear that they're not going to come back sometime soon. I don't think they would appear in packs the same way they used to. But with the proper distribution method, I think we might see a return to the player cards, particularly.
I hope so. Whip Flare.
And it's a start. I mean, Whip Flare is definitely something. But Eric does have a board presence. It'll be interesting to see how this play around Mana Leak strategy evolves now that he's a little behind on mana. I mean, is he really just not going to play as Hunt Master? I mean, Eric's been playing around Mana Leak this long.
All of your land destroyed by that every turn? No.
Okay.
There you go.
And now we see it draws the Mana Leak. But the hope is that the pod comes down next turn, playing around, like giving him something to continue to advance his board. Caleb, meanwhile, gets his 5th land in play from Evolving Wild. Now has access to all his colors, and plenty of them. Basically any spell available. The 6th land comes down. It's interesting. I wonder, would he want to just commit a Lone Revenant, or is he representing Snapcaster Mage? The Lone Revenant does come down. At this point, he probably figures, okay, whatever Eric does, I'll just kill it and start impulsing. Now, Eric, no ways to actually directly fight the Lone Revenant, does have access to things like Acidic Slime, Geist Honor Monk, Hunt Master, a variety of token making things so that he can actually get ahead. It's interesting that there's no bonfires, given how well Bonfire works with Revenant, but I suppose Whip Flare and Slag Storm both do the trick as well. Alright, Eric surveying his options, looking at a grip full of cards that do not deal with a Lone Revenant.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, and I'm here with Patrick Chapin.
What up?
The one and only. But you can see Caleb Durward playing the Grixis control deck that he was playing at the Invitational only, maybe a week ago? Was it a week?
Absolutely.
And gosh, it feels like it was longer. Magic is going by so quickly now. His opponent, Nyapod, Eric Curtis. Doomblade.
Now Hunt Master is 1 throat less than he was.
And that Lone Revenant cannot be targeted by any of Eric's spells, so it provides an excellent defender.
It's really interesting to see how Temporal Mastery can early on work as an explorer or two for setting up the Revenant, but then later, if he ever gets through, he can go hit you, take an extra turn, hit you, you know.
It's pretty insane when it gets to that point.
Plus, just if you play against a match that doesn't have any counter magic, I mean, it's easy to get up to 7. You just do it.
Here's the pod. Mana Leak.
Now he'll pay, but he won't be able to use it this turn.
This gives Caleb an opportunity. Previously, he was running 1 Ancient Grudge. Does he still have that main?
He does not.
Okay. Well, just delaying it is helpful, though.
Absolutely. Plus, if he can kill one of those two guys, like, you know, if he attacks with the Revenant here, if Eric double blocks, he could kill one.
And then kill the other as a result.
Exactly. But if Eric doesn't block, he'll just take an extra turn and put him in the same situation, only worse next turn.
There you go, and there's the block.
Oh, so now I think we're going to see Temporal Mastery. Now that he's committed to not killing it.
Mastery. Now, Mastery does remove itself. No shenanigans with Mastery.
Well, I think by definition these are kind of shenanigans, but none of the Snapcaster action. It's hard for Temporal Mastery to not be considered shenanigans. I mean, taking an extra turn.
I think 7 mana is a fair cost.
Well, if you pay 7.
I believe that's what I said. In with the Revenant. If you've never been hit by a Revenant in Constructed, I have to tell you, it's a horrible feeling.
I gotta imagine Eric blocks here. The Impulse is just too good. Impulse can stop whatever he's doing.
I think he's going to keep his creature around for a weak tutor, which I don't know how effective it's going to be because Caleb has so much removal in his deck.
Oh, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. If there is one thing I know, it is that you do not want to be hit by Lone Revenant.
And we see a Lighthouse enter the Caleb side of the board. Back to Eric. Eric, right now, with that birthing pod, he can make a 1 from his Golem.
And see, Caleb, off of the Impulse, drew a Slagstorm.
Yep.
And he doesn't even blow it on the Golem.
He doesn't have to.
Why would he? Right. Now things are just going to get worse for Eric. Because no matter what he plays now, it's just, you know, for the most part, it's just dying to the Slagstorm.
Borderland Ranger can become a 4. The 4s of note, are there any?
There's no Metamorph. There is only Restoration Angel and Huntmaster.
Well, Restoration Angel actually is a very big body.
It's not quite big enough to beat the Angel. I mean, to beat the Revenant.
I bet you he's going to get a Huntmaster, though. Even though he's seen a Whip Flare, I think he'll probably end up getting that Huntmaster. He's looking at the Angels for a second. He paused on an Angel. Oh, not quite enough. You need 5. You only get 4.
And he does.
There's the Huntmaster.
Now he's going to get hit by that Slagstorm. If he would have just...
Got me, Angel.
If he would have just chumped... No. If he would have blocked, yeah. If he would have chumped and not let Caleb have the Slagstorm.
Now,
but, yeah, I don't know.
I think that just by seeing the existence of that Whip Flare, that you do not get the Huntmaster. I think that you get the Angel. But on the other hand, you have also already seen a Doomblade, so which one are you going to go to?
I think he has to get the Huntmaster, figuring he needs to block this turn. If he gets the Angel, all he's going to do with it is block. If he gets the Huntmaster, at least he can hope to block with the Wolf.
We see an activation of the Lighthouse from Caleb. Also problematic. And here's the Slagstorm.
Caleb's a very strong deck builder who's been doing a lot of sweet brewing, a lot of sweet things over the last year and a half. There's the Slagstorm.
Goodbye, Eric's
This is
creatures.
probably curtains.
And do you remember when an Ophidian would hit? This is so much better than an Ophidian hitting.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah. This is definitely one of those spots too where Eric is feeling the lack of Bonfire. He does have him in the board though. Do you think he'll bring him in? I mean, this isn't the matchup
I
you
don't
wanted
know
most.
that I like him, honestly. He might not have very many ways to handle a Lone Revenant, but Bonfire is a very conditional way.
Yeah. He does have access to a variety of additional threats in his board, though. He's got Hero of Bladehold and Wolfear Silverheart, as well as a Talia, just in case he just wants more guys, you know? He does have plenty of reasonable cards to take out, though, like Dismember and some of these creatures, like Nearhearth Pilgrim or Fiend Hunter. I could see him bringing in the Bonfire, if only because he just has he has enough bad cards in his main deck that he's got to put something in.
Right. But I bet you that there are enough cards he would bring in that's not necessarily going to be the path. I mean, the Wolfear Silverheart is certainly a card to think about.
Yep, he'll bring in the 2 Silverhearts and the 2 Heroes for sure.
Yeah.
So, Restoration Angel taking this opportunity to sneak in while Caleb taps for a Lighthouse. It's interesting that he played the Restoration Angel on his own end step in response to the Lighthouse tapping out, instead of just playing the Angel on his main phase and then sacking it to pod immediately.
Getting a 5, perhaps getting a
Geist Hunter Monk? Yeah. Weird. I almost wonder if this is Fancy Pants Syndrome. It happens to the best of us.
The danger of cool plays.
So what does Eric need to do to turn this around?
I mean, honestly, if he were to tutor the top of his deck, it would need to be combinations of Restoration Angel and Geist, I think.
No, he's playing with Geist Hunter Monk, Zealous Conscript, and Acidic Slime at the 5 spot.
Oh my god, hard cast Temporal Mastery.
Well, so he doesn't have any 6s in his pod deck.
No 6s.
His chain stops at 5.
Stops at Geist Hunter Monk.
Yeah, interesting.
And Eric just takes it. I mean, I think as terrible as it is, yeah, I've only been playing Revenant in block constructed thus far, but it's so absurd. And are we going to see the finish out with a Bonfire or something like that? Karn, 7 mana tapped. Caleb with no Bonfires in his deck, to be clear. Karn eating up the Birthing Pod.
He just wants to neutralize any counterplay he can. He doesn't care if the Restoration Angel attacks and kills Karn, so what? He just doesn't want things to get crazy, like Eric to drop, a Titan and then sacrifice it and turn it into Elishnorn.
Or Doomblade. Scoop.
And that's it.
Oh,
Alright, so
wow.
As we go to the sideboard, Caleb has Torpor Orb,
Wow.
which is a very potent weapon against Eric, and
Yeah.
it's not clear Eric's even going to be able to anticipate it.
I mean, one of the things about Torpor Orb is that making the creatures lose come to play abilities. So many of these creatures in a pod deck, the whole point is coming into play abilities. That's
Yes.
the entire reason you're even playing the deck.
Go for the Throat, another nice option too, particularly since he's seen both Huntmaster and Restoration Angel. Consecrated Sphinx, another absolutely fantastic card in this matchup.
I mean, the very worst that can happen is that your opponent can copy the Consecrated Sphinx, but you're the one with Doomblades.
And then he might even bring in Pillar of Flame. I mean, he doesn't know that his opponent only has one Strangleroot Geist, but either way, Pillar's nice to use on the mana creatures. And meanwhile...
Wow, I'm going to pause you for a second.
Yeah?
Caleb has one Mindslaver.
Yeah, not the matchup for it, but that's a spicy little meatball.
I just wanted to point out some spice.
Absolutely.
That is.
And you can tell he's been talking with Reed Duke because he has a Volition Reigns.
I'm a big fan of Volition Reigns. I know that in right now all of my control decks, I do run one Volition Reigns. I know Shaheen Surani runs one Volition Reigns in his control deck. It's just a very good kind of catch-all to the various things that can happen in kind of the slow end matchups, whether that's a Wolf Run list or another blue-based control deck like typically Esper.
Eric rocking, as we said, not a whole ton. He's probably going to bring in the Heroes and the Wolfear Silverhearts. If he correctly anticipates Torpor Orb, he might want to bring in an Ancient Grudge. But there's a good chance. I mean, and he's got another Talia too, but there's a good chance he's going to walk face first into it.
But one of the things about Thalia I like is that you're talking about an opponent whose deck is primarily spells. On the other hand, you've also seen main deck Whip Flare, main deck Slagstorm. So if the early aggression is weathered, Thalia just sets you up to be really, really hit. On the left, Caleb Durward. On the right, Eric Curtis. Caleb, up a game here. This is round 5 of 10 for the Star City Games Open Series, live here in Detroit, Michigan, one of my favorite places, actually.
Absolutely. Beautiful city, excellent scene. Eric's going to be on the play. What is he hoping to draw?
I mean, Eric really wants to start out with fast mana, regardless of the fact that Caleb has Whip Flares, regardless of the fact that Caleb has the Slagstorm. He wants to have fast mana, drop a pod into play, and then ramp that pod into his other powerful cards. He probably particularly wants to see Hero of Bladehold come out, because Hero is resistant to the sweep, and then provides its own single card army.
Absolutely, particularly since he hasn't seen Slagstorm. Oh no, he did see Slagstorm.
He did see Slagstorm.
He's seen both.
I mean, it doesn't even matter if Caleb slags or whips to get rid of the army that the hero would create. The fact that it created it means that damage happened, and then it can just rebuild and do it all over again.
So I gotta say, on the surface, I like the look of this matchup for Caleb, and not just because he's playing Grixis. The having the sweepers, having a nice endgame that is from a different angle than Eric is prepared for, and plus just, you know, card advantage and removal with a good endgame is a good plan against these mid-rangey decks. I mean, Eric's deck is not particularly fast. They're still sideboarding.
Are there any mulligans?
I don't know. If I'm playing Grixis, I think in this spot, I'm just going to keep doing more of the same. I mean, I might even think about taking out Temporal Mastery, as sweet as it was game 1. Just because in the games where you're winning, it might be that that's not what's really relevant, you know? Although it might just be too important a part of his engine.
You know, I keep on finding myself wondering about Temporal Mastery. I've had it in decks as I was brewing for this time, since it's been printed. And ultimately, in every brew that I've had Temporal Mastery in, I've cut it.
And you're not a big fan of the just mastering for value?
Eric down to 6 cards here. But one of the things, I mean, Mastery, it seems awesome as the means to acquire a kind of Explorer or Rampant Growth style effect from blue. But if you don't, there's so many times where you have that miracle moment, but you just don't want to use it, and because it's just not good enough, you know, like you needed something else to happen.
So we see another mulligan, or are we still on the first?
Eric is down to 6. He's just doing his first.
Oh, he is down to 5.
Now he's down to 5. Yikes.
Caleb patiently.
Yep. Furrowing his brow, waiting to finish game 2. I think he feels confident in this matchup, and I think that there's every reason that he should. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Patrick Chapin, and we're watching round 4 of the Star City Games Open Series here in Detroit. Caleb on the left with Grixis Control, Eric on the right with Nyapod. Eric down to 5 cards now. Particularly against a deck with point removal in the form of Doomblades, in the form of Pillar of Flame, combined with Sweep in the form of Slagstorm and Pillar of Flame, Eric is looking to be in a pretty rough position. Eric is on the play, and turn 1 go. I think one of the things we said before is he wanted most likely to have a draw where it was mana creature early turn 2 pod, and that is not going to happen today. Caleb Durward with Ponder.
Wow, without a mana accelerator, it's I mean, I guess it's really just kind of hope you can curve out, right? And hope that Caleb stumbles. Wow, it looks like Caleb even has a good mix of spells too. I kind of got a read on the future. I would not be surprised if this is Caleb's tournament. I see him already just rocketing to the top 8. You know, like it's only round 4, there's 6 more rounds, but I got a good feeling about Caleb today.
Well, like, what is the reason that Esper is so good against the Delver builds? You see the Doomblades, right? You see the ability to put something on the table that matters, and I think Lone Revenant does some of that same stuff. You've got that sweep, you've got the targeted removal, you've got the ability to pull ahead with Lone Revenant. I think you could be right. There could be something here where Caleb makes that top 8.
I love the number of Doomblades and Go for the Throats he has. I like the modest amount of card advantage, the mix of sweepers.
Snapcaster Ponder from Caleb. Eric stuck on 2 lands.
Dude, Caleb's deck, I don't know if I could... Like, this is enough to almost get me to want to come back over from the dark side. God, this looks so fun.
Even with the miracles, I don't like to think twice, but that's my only little complaint about the deck for the most part. In with the Snapcaster Mage, Thalia sitting out there on the other side, and we have Desolate Lighthouse at the end of the turn. I bet you we're going to see a Pillar of Flame kill Thalia.
Not just tap out for Revenant?
Wow. Oh, wow. He's like, block? Okay.
Perfect.
Revenant.
God.
That was amazing.
Wow. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Caleb sacrificing his Snapcaster Mage, tricking Eric into killing it for him so that his Revenant would be powered up. Pretty close to a non-game here. At this point, Caleb has removal, permission. He's about to start impulsing every turn. Pillars
Now
away the
comes the
Thalia.
pillar.
Yep. Without Thalia, Eric doesn't even have a blocker this turn. It's just going to get worse.
This is just over. I mean, I cannot imagine any set of cards that Eric could do that would bring him out of this.
Remember, John Cena said, never give up. Reed Duke doesn't concede either. You ever seen that?
Oh, I wouldn't concede where Eric, but I don't see a rational way out of this one here. We got a Cavern. It's a good start. Borderland.
Between you and me, I saw Reed concede before. He likes to pretend he'd never concede. We've played some Miracle games where he's just getting ground out and he's just so far behind.
Caleb discards a Mana Leak to the Lighthouse. Cavern on humans.
A shocking change.
Right.
From the status quo.
And Caleb checking for a miracle. He doesn't need miracles, but he's happy to have them.
So are we going to see the Borderland Ranger bite it?
I think so. I think we're in the super Ophidian phase of the game, where every little thing you do will just get undone at an effective cost to the person playing it of no cards.
Absolutely. This is an awesome deck by Caleb. I hope he wins the whole thing, but I got him at the very least making top 8.
And the Orb.
As if things weren't bad enough, another nail in the coffin for Eric Curtis. So what are we, I mean, what is the plan, I guess? Throw out a blocker? I guess all he really has is throwing out blockers and hoping that somehow the Caleb can't kill them despite impulsing every turn.
Right. I mean, again, it's the classic Ophidian lock.
Like if you were losing before, it's not getting better for you.
Yep. Human. Huntmaster.
Now, even though the Huntmaster doesn't give him a wolf for life when he comes into play, he does still trigger every time he flips.
That's fair. And Lighthouse. 2 mana leaks, 1 goes away.
The fact that he wasn't willing to use a mana leak on the Huntmaster. Oh no, the Cavern's on human anyway.
Cavern on human. You're only human, it always happens, okay. We've got another land from Caleb. Another mana leak in Caleb's hand.
Only human, huh? I assure you, my PR people will definitely confirm that. I'm definitely a human. Caleb, deciding which way to kill the Huntmaster.
That's the way I choose.
Removes his throat.
For 4. I wonder if Caleb will find another good spell. Is that a ponder?
Only barely.
Wow.
Doesn't even want the ponder.
He takes the land. He's good.
It's locked up. He doesn't want anything else. He's got everything he needs.
And going for the kill now. 8 damage, 6 life from his opponent. Next turn, he can kill Eric.
Yeah, he doesn't want to wait and give Eric a chance to bonfire. He doesn't know Eric doesn't have any bonfires, but he might have boarded one in. I think this is a Rizzy. Wrap it up.
There's a 4/4.
The Silverheart.
No friend, Silverheart. Okay, what does that do?
Let's be extra sure. This is just a 4/4, right?
He tosses it to the side. There is theoretically a Wilfir Silverheart in play. It just got tossed aside for a moment.
Caleb demonstrating a shocking amount of frustration with having 2 Lone Revenants, a dominating board, being up a game, up lots of cards, Torpor Orb, every kind of answer in his hand, permission, work hard, draw, and the game 1 turn away from victory. Eric, meanwhile, content to just chill, hang out.
Okay, as we wait for something.
What are the matches you hoping to see today?
You know what? I do not believe that there exists a red deck that's aggressive, that's good, but I really hope someone proves me wrong.
Oh, yeah. It would definitely be sweet if there's somebody just showing up with... Plus, I think that aggressive red decks are about to get a serious jolt in the arm.
I almost agree. I think
you almost agree?
I think that mid-rangey red decks are getting the jolt, and aggressive red is gonna be what it is.
So the card we're talking about, I mean, there's a variety of sweet cards coming up, like a new Incinerate, an Arc Lightning. I mean, there's a lot of sweet stuff.
It's
but
the response for the Beacon of Destruction, the new Beacon.
Beacon of Destruction. I don't think that Beacon of Destruction is going to be the card that most people compare Thundermaw Hellkite
No, they're
to.
going to go with Rorix or...
Baneslayer Angel?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He's kind of the love child of Rorix Bladewing and Baneslayer Angel. 5/5 flying haste. When he comes into play, ruin your opponent's flying creatures.
So I think that what's happening is that Torpor Orb's interaction with Wilfir Silverheart, I think one of the questions that's being asked is, does Wilfir Silverheart trigger when another creature is cast by that player?
Yep. And believe it or not, Caleb is not the type of guy who just throws his opponent's cards off to the side. He was probably throwing it into the loving arms of a judge.
They both appear to be looking in that direction. I mean, he's not a barbarian. He's not going to take somebody's counter off of their creature like Jerry Thompson did to put it on his own Ratchet Bomb.
Now, I do think that while he may be no barbarian, You can tell from the change in the grooming of his beard that he has seen a barber. What do you think about the recent trend of Magic players with beards? There seem to be a lot. No, I'm just, you know, like 15 years ago, there weren't enough Magic players old enough to have beards.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I'm trying to think of Magic players from the back in the day that had beards, and I can't come up with any.
Eric Taylor?
Eric Taylor.
That's the man who had a beard in the early 80s.
Eric Taylor, famous for many things, but one of the most famous for eating his own hat when Kai Buddha won yet another Pro Tour. I forget who that bet was against, but was that bet against?
It wasn't even against anybody. It was a public statement. It was to the community at large.
That's
sort
right.
of a, you know, it was just in response to. It was in response to Randy Buehler's statement about, you know, at what point do we say Kai's the best?
Right.
And Randy said, well, if he wins the next one. And Eric said, if he wins the next one, I'm eating my hat.
Okay, so the attack happens. Eric blocks. Eric goes to 2 and an image. Oh, so there's still 2 lone revenants in play.
And I think what Caleb really wanted to know is if he phantasmal imaged Eric's Silverheart, could he buff his own Revenant? Which would be a fantastic play. Sounds like the ruling has come back correct.
Blade Splicer.
And Eric packs it in. Caleb advances 2-0 to be up 4-0 in the SCG Detroit. This is Patrick Chapin with the Corruptor, Adrian Sullivan.
Oh, blasts from the past.